Three, two, one. Hello and welcome to YQL Real Talk, your local real estate digest so you can keep up to date with our local news and economy. Your hosts, like always, are Kurtis Hawkins and Brett Gurr.
Yep. Hello.
Today we got a couple articles to go through before we get into the numbers of what went on last month. First up on the docket is Lethbridge. Actually got this article from the local MLAs on the west side are having an election soon.
Right. Yes.
So they had an interview going back and forth.
By the signs everywhere.
Yeah. They're having an interview and asked a bunch of questions so they could state their case, I guess, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just one of the things, I'm not getting into the whole, I thought the questions were, some of the questions were good. One of the questions was say something nice about your competitor.
Oh, really?
Whatever,
oh, geez.
But
yeah.
Most of the questions were okay.
We do politics a little different up here than in the States.
Apparently. But one of the things that I learned from it is that Lethbridge attracted 61 doctors in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I kind of figured, I didn't know it was that many. But I remember last year, like every pharmacy and doctor's office you went to said now accepting new patients, there's a new doctor. And of course they got snatched up pretty quick, but it's pretty wild that there's 61 new doctors.
Yeah.
And then in 2025, so coming up next year, the University of Lethbridge is opening a new medical school. So that's set to attract 50 more doctors every year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great news for our city. Right? That's great news for Alberta. But yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. 61 seems like a huge number.
Seems
to
like
me.
all the
maybe
doctors.
Like maybe it's not. Maybe we have 800 doctors in Lethbridge, but 61 seems like a really massive number.
Yeah,
it does. So
yeah, I don't know how many doctors a city of 100,000 people need, but
yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember the last time I went to a doctor. So.
Right. Well, I went to one just recently, and they're like, "Oh, Brett, we haven't seen you in 10 years, so we're gonna give you the gamut here." Oh, fantastic, perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
we don't need to go into details.
That's good news. Okay. Yeah, exactly. We'll avoid that.
Next one, changing the subject. The
blood work.
The provincial government just announced no-go zones for renewable energy. So basically, there's areas around the province they said you're not putting windmills or solar panels in.
Right.
So far, I tried to find the map, but I just found articles. I can't really see where. But they said anywhere around a provincial or national park, you're not allowed to put them.
Makes complete sense.
Makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
You can't do anything in them, so just leave them as is.
Right.
And then you're still allowed to do solar or wind on agricultural lands as long as you can prove that as long as you can prove that doesn't disturb the wildlife or the agriculture growth stuff.
Right.
So
yeah. Crop yields and things like that.
Also makes sense because like Vulcan has a huge one out there, and I don't know if it was pasture land or whatever that's on. It's right off the highway.
Right.
But just to see good farmland being covered up by solar panels, I don't think makes a lot of sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Makes a lot of sense to me is every single house having a solar panel on it.
Or parking lots. Like wouldn't
so
I think we've had this conversation before.
I think so. In Hawaii they do that. So
yeah.
Not everywhere in Hawaii, but in some parts of Hawaii they have parking lots that are covered, so they're shaded, keeps you out of the rain.
Yeah.
And they cook up a bunch of electricity. Like
it's a win-win-win, right? Like you've got dead space that is covered in asphalt. Throw a solar farm over top of Park Place. The parking lot is massive. People, are out of the elements. It's there. It's great.
Or like on top of the mall.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. Or hospital, or you name it. There's so many large spaces that you could put those.
Yep.
Top of the NMAX Center or the Lethbridge.com Center
really,
right now.
Maybe I should start a series. What really grinds my gears is you're allowed to put a solar panel on your house, of course.
Yes.
You can do that.
Right.
But if you generate too much electricity, you don't get paid for it.
Yes, not allowed.
So they'll cap you at 110%. Whereas like if every house in Lethbridge had solar panels, and most people that I know that have them get a credit back, so they don't pay for electricity if they pay for a little bit. So we could have like next to no electricity bill for everybody if we just put solar panels in every house.
Yeah, it's very regulated. It's
what?
very counterproductive.
Like if we want solar panels, why don't that seems to me like the very first one to go to.
Absolutely.
People will pay for it themselves because they'll save the money.
Yeah.
And there's no government spending in order to do it. Like
definitely. And there's
don't ask me.
There's massive farms that have huge Quonsets and barns that they could literally litter their barns, and they could be producing.
Yeah, I have a cousin actually.
800% more, but it's not allowed. Can't do that. So yeah.
Are you sure? Maybe I shouldn't
pretty
say this.
sure.
I have. I know not know somebody that has a Quonset with solar panels on it.
I'm pretty sure that was a thing because we did talk about that. There was a farm owner in the room, and we did talk about that. It was
where
Sandy from Red Door when we had the, and she said the same thing. She's like, "Great, let's do it. We'll put them on our barns." And the guy was like, "No, you can't do that. You can only do 110% of what is allowed."
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't think he probably qualifies for whatever 110%.
Right.
But I know he has them. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're allowed to get them for sure. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Too much time on solar panels.
Throwing my family under the bus here.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
The last one I want to talk about before we get into numbers is the provincial government also came out and said that there are going to be 70% less photo radar sites across the province. And apparently the Lethbridge...
It's good news for realtors that are on the road all the time.
I don't speed.
No, of course not. Yeah, me neither.
The police chief in Lethbridge is quite upset about it, mostly because they generated $2.43 million last year from photo radar.
I might have been a third of that, but no.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's a major revenue loss that they're going to have.
Coming from us. So I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever.
I don't feel sorry because, like I said, I've been known to get the odd ticket here and there.
Where I've always been in favor of them and where they should put them is school zones, playgrounds. Like I don't speed through a school zone or playground. I'm not going to be an idiot and go hit a kid or something.
Right.
Your life would be over. I could never forgive myself.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
I'm all for putting them in school zones, playground zones, that sort of thing.
Definitely.
What this says is that you're not going to be able to get ticketed on a numbered highway, provincial highway. And they're going to review all of them within the next 4 months and reduce ones that are not seen as being safe or like promoting safety, and that they shouldn't be using this as a cash cow is what the provincial government is saying.
Well, and that's certainly what it's turned into. They've seen the revenue off of them, and they put them in more and more intersections. In the last 5 years, we've seen a lot more of them.
I will be fair and read a kind of an important line in this, and they say in 2023, approximately 2.43 million was generated from photo radar in Lethbridge, which is down 12% from 2022 and down 53% from 2021.
Okay.
So they're saying because they've ticketed more, their revenue's gone down because of it, so that must mean it's safer.
Right.
Got somebody calling me. I'm gonna call them after. Sorry.
You can take it.
No. I will call you later. Thanks for calling.
Probably just a scammer.
Thanks for probably. I get a lot of those lately.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Would you like lead generation?
Yeah. I don't know. I
see, and I was always under the impression that you couldn't have photo radar on highways in Alberta. So maybe that legislation has changed recently. Maybe I'm not aware of that, but who knows? I personally have never got a ticket on the highway for photo radar.
Well, we were just saying I've seen them. I haven't gotten one there, but I've seen them when you come down Highway 3. There's an overpass, so you're in the city. Yeah, but you're still in the highway, so maybe that's what they're referring to. I don't know.
Still within city limits, right?
And they said all of the speed safety devices, like the ones that are on the intersections, those can only be used for red lights and not for speeding anymore.
Right. Okay.
So,
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. They're saying that their revenue was down 12% from 2022 and down 53% for 2021, and that's their clear evidence that the roads have gotten safer.
right?
They don't have any stats to say the road's gotten safer. They just said they gave out less speeding tickets. So I don't know.
Well, it's possible. Honestly, I think it has a lot to do with when you buy new vehicles, when you have navigation in some of these new vehicles, they alert you where every single photo radar is.
So yeah,
which
that's
incredible.
And when on Google Maps or on Waze, you can report them.
Definitely.
So that's what I'm saying here is just because you didn't make as much money or there's less tickets doesn't mean the roads are safer.
Yes,
that just means you gave out less tickets.
Yeah, or people are having navigation running all the time.
So I'd like to see actual stats warned. To know if there's less accidents.
Yes,
that would tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
But they don't have that in here.
No, they don't.
I am all in favor of not getting $23 more million from already taxpayers to fund whatever it goes to. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think a lot of it boils down to, you get pulled over by a police officer for doing 62 in a 50 zone. Rarely are you getting pulled over for doing 57 in a 50 zone, but you'll get a photo radar ticket for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's definitely a discrepancy there. So.
I would even be for, like automatic ticket if you're 20 over in the city and 30 over on the highway.
For sure, absolutely. But if you're being that reckless within city limits, absolutely.
Yep.
And same if you're 30, 40K over the highway speed limit.
Actually, so we were saying this too. So in Canada, the speed limit's 110 on a double lane highway.
Right.
And in Alberta, we have the widest shoulders. We have the straightest roads, and we're still at 110. Mm-hmm. I was just in Texas a couple months ago, and their speed limits were 90 miles an hour, which is 140.
Yeah.
Unlike
that's crazy.
Unlike a 5-lane highway.
Right.
It's crazy to drive there. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is the 110 kilometer speed limits have been in Canada for at least 50 years.
Yeah.
Since then, I think cars have gotten safer, and I think safer and
they can
cars have gotten
handle
safer.
the speed better. Yeah, they handle the speed better. They are safer, so it is easier to go faster.
And our roads are straight as hell.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Now, that being said, playing the devil's advocate, I personally feel that Alberta is very lenient on speeding tickets within the highways of Alberta. I've heard it from the mouth of an RCMP officer. They're not going to ticket you until you're going 20K over. Knock on wood, of course.
Is that a hack? Were you supposed to say that?
Probably not. It was years ago. Maybe they've changed that, but maybe we could get in crap for this. We'll delete that out.
If we disappear.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that being said, maybe we are pretty lenient on our highway speeds. You're never getting a ticket for doing 118 in a 110 zone. I've never heard of it. 128. Possibly.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Too. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay, cool. Should we get into some numbers here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So overall, I feel that it's quite busy. I'm very busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take a look at some numbers. I know you're busy. Our team's pretty busy for the most part. So. Homes sold, we've got this November was 149 homes sold. From last November, 106.
Whoa.
So we're up significantly from last November. So that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, that one's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I pulled that.
The last year average is 155, so we're just under the year average and what's supposed to be one of the slowest months.
Honestly, I think weather plays a big part in that. The weather has been gorgeous.
Yeah, we had like 2 weeks where we had some snow and it was cold. But
as soon as it hit -20, all of a sudden people were like, "No, I don't want to go out and look at houses right now. I want to hide in my house." So the weather, I think, has been a big attributor to that. Average days on market, we've got November of 48 days on market. Last year this time was 59. Average is 52. So we're still really, really low days on market. No real surprises. Low inventory, all that jazz. Active homes on market. So 322 active homes on market. This just continues to drop each and every time we look at it. Last year, this time was 365, and the year average for last year was 426. So yet again, we're completely below that yearly average. as well as we continue to, those numbers continue to drop like
I'm
stones.
looking back just for the last 3 months. So August 371, September 373, October 354, and now 322.
Right. Yeah.
You remember last year when we had 365 in November and we were like, there's nothing on the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty wild, you know, so it just keeps getting lower and lower.
Well, I just put out a reel about why I think there's no sellers in Lethbridge. And from just looking at a bunch of stats, and I was being a little bit of a nerd and went through a bunch of things, 2020 and 2021 were the most volume of houses that have ever sold in Lethbridge were in those 2 years.
Right.
So everybody who bought in 2020 and 2021 had an interest rate of like under 2 or just over 2.
Yeah.
So everybody that has a 1 or 2% interest rate mortgage does not want to sell and renew at a 4 or 5% mortgage.
Definitely.
So all of those renewals are coming up in 2025, and I think in Canada too, like 80% of renewals are coming up this year.
Yes, yeah,
So
it's going to be...
So 2025 could be a crazy year for listings or refinances, maybe not listings, maybe people don't want to move. I don't know.
Well, and lenders are saying that will cool the market a little bit. It will add more listings. It will soften prices just slightly. At least that's what they're saying. And in theory, that should happen, but almost couldn't come at a better time because we've got so few listings. Prices are climbing.
A conspiracy from me.
Right.
Maybe not a conspiracy. Maybe they know what they're doing, and I'm just putting the pieces together because they've never said this. But all of a sudden, interest rates are starting to come down and come down in a big way. Of course, it has to do with inflation's cooling off. Our economy's not doing great, so they're lowering interest rates to kind of boost it up again. But it's also convenient timing that it's also coming down when the majority of renewals are coming up.
Right.
So that when people have to renew, they're not, going from a 1% to a 5%. They're going from a 1% to like a high 3%.
Yes.
So it's not as dramatic of a shift.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I got my eye on you.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Isn't that interesting though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kinda weird.
Yeah. It definitely
Very coincidental.
is. Absolutely. Weird. Okay, so average home price. This is always the number that we're always interested in. It's been pretty exciting the last year. We did go down last month. We were at an all-time high of 405. Now we've dropped down to 384,150 for the month of November. Last year, like looking back to last year, 334 from 12 months ago today.
Yep.
As that's insane. Last year's average 343, 135. So
I think the only ones that think this is insane are people who live in Lethbridge.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we're like, whoa!
But just to see,
it is a big percentage change, though, for sure.
And that's the big thing is Lethbridge. We're not used to these hikes, right? And of course, it's early. But one thing worth noting, when I ran this report, obviously we're 10 days, 12, 11 days into December. December's average was showing 440. So obviously as the month goes on, that will level out. But still, it was like,
there's no way.
That's kind of an alarming number to start. But again, that's based on 10 days.
Yeah, exactly.
In the month of December. A few big ones obviously sold. It will level out as the month goes on. But
so I just did some quick math. That's about 13% in a year.
Okay. Yeah.
That's enough.
That's a massive. Well, it's a jump that we're just not used to in Lethbridge.
Yeah.
So
any market, 13% is big. So
yeah, good news if you're a homeowner in Lethbridge. Not great news if you want to get into the market and you were telling everybody last year you're going to wait till the market cools off. Well,
most people wait for interest rates to come down, but now it's going to cost you. Your down payment's worth less now because all the property prices went up.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on final statistic, average list to sale percentage, 98.4 we saw last month. So 98.2 the year before, and 97.4 is the 2023 year average. So we're definitely still up there. Not a whole lot of bargains happening in that respect. People are getting virtually their asking price. Certainly puts it still into a seller's market.
Yep.
Okay. Overall take on the market. What's your take on it?
I didn't realize that the number of homes sold was that like almost 50%, 25% more than last year.
Right.
That kind of surprised me. I kind of had my head down, like you said, everyone's kind of busy, so I kind of just drown everything out.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was busy, but I guess that makes sense because there's, I don't know,
Things are still moving.
Yeah, the thing that I wanted to bring up is that we've just talked about it, but with having no houses on the market, it's a difficult market, whether you're a buyer or a seller, because most sellers have to move somewhere else. So
definitely.
And we've said this before, but when there's no inventory, you don't want to sell your house because where am I going to move? And then nobody wants to list because they don't know where to move. And then the next guy says the same thing, and then it just kind of feeds on itself.
Yeah, it does make things tricky. It's a great time to upgrade right now because your home in that 350 range or 300 range is in a hot market.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're upgrading into something in the 550 range or 600 range, definitely a lot softer market in that price range. So, but
yeah, I do want to look
still
at,
moving.
I was looking at some like Korea numbers or maybe area numbers that came out.
Right. Okay.
And the majority of houses in Lethbridge sold are again in that 3 to 450 range.
Definitely.
And then once you get to 6 to 7 and 8, it's like the graph is like this for that price range, and then just crashes, and there's like very little that sells.
Yeah.
But when we do we should do like a yearly recap or something, because I think we've had more $1 million homes sell this year than ever.
Yeah, it has been a hot market for our high-end home market in Lethbridge.
Yep.
You know, I think that...
Hot for Lethbridge.
Well, yes. Yeah, exactly. Of course, I think that has a lot to do with a lot of people coming from other provinces, right?
I don't know.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Like we sold a couple million this year.
Yeah, and
not
they
one
were
of
all
them.
local people.
Yeah.
That's true. So
That's what I find is the weird thing.
yeah, that's true.
So here, I'm just going to look it up quick. 900 to 1 million. Or maybe go to like 2 million just to throw it in there. In Lethbridge. Sold the last, I'll go like 340 days.
Yeah.
14 over 900.
Over a million? Over 900?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is crazy. 1.65. That home for 1.65 sold in 24 days.
That's wild. Yeah.
What else is there? Another one took a year to sell. That's kind of normal. 1.35 took 60 days to sell, which is very low. Another one for 300 sold for 1.3. And another one 114 days. That's the one that we were a part of.
Okay.
Let me just I'm going to do a quick average here too, since I have it up. So if you're between 9 and 2 million, stats, you're negotiating about 4% off, and average of 112 days on market, with the max being 335 days.
Right.
Of course, we're not calculating like this. Only calculates day on market. It says continue day on market on here, but they must have all been like taken off the market, reset the days, and then put back on.
Right.
Because lots of them get terminated and they
which
relist.
is pretty common for that price range.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
because 112 days is not correct for a million plus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you're lucky, there's a couple in here, but
yeah, that's pretty remarkable that one sold in 16 days. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah, I've been busy. You've been busy. Our team's been busy overall. So things have just been hopping pretty good.
I don't know what 2025 has in store.
Me neither.
I kind of had a feeling this year, like I remember doing some predictions that, it was still going to be a crazy hot year. I don't know what's going to happen next year just because of prices coming down. Prices have come down across Canada, not in Lethbridge, but they've dropped a little bit. But now that these interest rates are coming in, I've been seeing more articles that all these markets are starting to pick back up again.
Right.
So before we had a ton of people, like we added 5,000 people to Lethbridge last year. I don't know if you knew that.
Right.
Which is big.
Yeah, that is a lot for,
and
what are we, 105 or 110 now, probably. So
when I talk to most of the clients, most of the buyers I work with are from out of town. And when I talk to them, what made you pick Alberta, let alone Lethbridge?
Mm-hmm.
And first is prices. Second is politics.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
If obviously we're still affordable, even though those other markets have come down, but is that enough to make them stay? And if it picks back up, is that going to still push people out here? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we'll just see ourselves kind of teetering back. And I say teetering back because I don't think we're going to jump back into more of a balanced market, but we might kind of get pushed back a little bit that way. I think with our low inventory, we're not going to be even remotely close to a balanced market, but it'll kind of cool that off a little bit and teeter us back slightly that way.
Yeah, I kind of think we'll see more listings because I don't know how we could see less listings.
Well, we've been saying that since we've been doing this podcast, and we continue to get less and less and less.
True.
Right? So who knows?
I just don't think there's going to be less.
Wow, 50 homes sold in 2025, but let's hope not, right?
No. So the weird thing is, I did a bunch of research, and they said that there was more homes, like actual transactions, happen this year than last year, even though we had less listings.
Oh wow, interesting.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is odd.
So
okay, well.
So yeah, I've heard some realtors say that they've been complaining about, 20 years ago there was like 200 agents and there was 600 listings at every time.
Right.
Like, I know, but there's more houses sell now. So I know there's not listings, but there's still more transactions happening. So
yeah, definitely. And of course, as inventory gets smaller and smaller and smaller, I think there's more realtors jumping into the industry as well too right now, which is going to make things even harder.
Yeah, I think there's 429.
Yeah.
We were at the last Eldar meeting.
Definitely.
429 realtors.
Yeah, that's a lot for a small town, and yet...
And 300 listings.
There's probably, I've talked to 5 or 6 or, people that are either getting into it or just got into it last month and just got licensed last month,
And I think, what's the stat? 80% of realtors don't make it past 3 years?
I think it's 92%.
Really?
92% of realtors do not last within the industry. They're out within 3 years, like you said.
I just saw one too that 60% of realtors, like in the States, and I'm assuming numbers are probably reflected the same way in Canada, 60% sold 0 houses last year.
Right. Yeah. I can see that for sure. A lot of people then it costs you a lot of money to be an agent, like it does cost you a lot of money.
Like minimum, probably $500 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Like depending on which brokerage that you're with.
Before your brokerage.
Yes. Yeah. Depending on which brokerage you're with.
Like Eldar fees you got to pay to be a part of the association.
Yes.
And then you got to do, is that it?
Well, then you've got your yearly area fees,
I'm trying to break down
like $750, your monthly fees.
Yeah.
Well, depending on which brokerage you're at, you can be anywhere from $400 to $1,200 a month, depending on which brokerage you're at for your monthly fees.
Yeah. And to do that for
some brokerages,
0 sales. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Some brokerages are $0 a month, depending on which brokerage you're at. Plug for real. So yeah. Which is one of the main reasons why we switched over. It's really easy for everybody to not pay monthly fees. So it's pretty.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how you sell 0 houses a year and survive. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
I definitely have no idea, but I think there's just a lot of part-time people that, want to get into it.
It's like the 80-20 rule. No matter what thing you're talking about, 20% of the agents do 80% of the volume.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that.
And then the last 80% do 20% of whatever's left. So crazy.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much for tuning into this podcast. If you guys like this one and want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any comments about speeding or all the other articles that we talked about. What was it? Speeding?
Just the
renewable energy.
Renewable energy, things like that.
And we will see you guys in the next one.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Goodbye.